Wanted to understand, given that there's so much platform and capability enablement from various cloud providing accelerators, digital accelerators for large organizations, uh, it has become easier and more intuitive to build products using native functionality. You know, in this light, what trends do you see evolving in terms of buy versus build decisions?
Thank you, Tanay, for that question. Um, I think just before I move into that point, a way or a best way, better way to look at a buy versus build decision tree from an organization standpoint um, is it's not straightforward implementation of what we have shared here. Just think about it in context of and in context of what type of problems you are trying to solve within the company, and then there is a methodology that we apply over it, which this team does, is to customize this decision tree based on the problem that you're trying to solve, so that you can take more appropriate and accurate decision from a strategy standpoint from long term. Now, coming to the question, I think there are various trends, as all of you understand. Large organization, and this is specifically in perspective of large organization, for some of the Fortune 500 companies that we work with. There is an increasing affinity which has been accelerated because of COVID as well, to invest a lot into cloud-based application, um, invest a lot into accelerating the digital transformation journey. And when that happens, what essentially is happening is there is a lot of infrastructure and platforms that are created wherein they are ingesting data, wherein different type of application are going to reside completely on the cloud platform. And within that context, um, it is it is important to for them to look at what value am I driving from the native functionality of the platform that I'm investing in, versus where I'm going to buy something that is off the shelf. So one trend that we have seen recently is that most of the organization, as they invest into digital capabilities, have started building product teams. And what product teams do is to manage these, not only the buy and build decisions, but also manage the product lifecycle and applications that they are building within their company in a traditional, as you would see in a traditional product organization, which includes the platforms, the functionalities, the roadmap, and the strategic way of implementing them into geographies. And these teams have started working in, as most of you would have heard, agile product development ways in order to develop and deliver. So that has been one of the trends, and these organizations therefore are on journey of building their own product ecosystem. Now, once this product ecosystem is set up, the affinity is more to use native functionalities for the problems that can be built internally, and therefore it has to be clearly understood how this buy and build decision can be based out of that. The second is the once these, and this is specifically for the build. Traditionally, the enhancement part, or building more and more functionality on top of it, or evolving it, was difficult, and there was a lot of focus for a company that is providing an off-the-shelf product to build that. But now, these enhancement, um, including the skill set to manage and maintain these enhancement, or to build the product roadmap, is not very, it's not a complex process, because I mean it's massive, but it's not complex in terms of very specialized areas that are needed, because these cloud platforms do provide enormous amount of functionalities to build something like computer vision. For example, you have many different libraries and process flows that are inbuilt into the native application. Let's take Google for example, and then you can use that and you can build a computer vision type of capability within your ecosystem. The third element that organizations are looking at is strategic, right? If the capability is strategic, then why do I need to depend upon someone else in order to manage and maintain it? And therefore, isn't it important for me to build this capability in house? And that's also a perspective of product teams that they are thinking about and building it. So this is more from a buy perspective. Now, when I moved to product or a service application, um, what is more relevant, and what the way that decisions are being looked at is, are there products in the industry that are very, very differentiating, who have solved a problem which is um, a very focused problem many times again and again? And if that is the problem that they are solving, then isn't it much easier to get something off the shelf and implement it, versus thinking about um, the building something from scratch, right? And therefore, I think that's the perspective that even the product companies or the platform providers should think about. That, have I solved a very focused problem many times? So, and that is the differentiating factor for me to go with, to go back and kind of build that. And another element is cost to support. If the product cost to support is just minimal versus someone internally managing it, then that definitely goes into into the buy decision off the shelf versus a build decision, right? So these are some of the consideration into the buy process versus build process, and how industries are thinking around it. Tanay, I hope I was able to answer that question